What if each bite you take wasn't just fuel for your body, but a sacred instrument of change, a quiet lever that can rearrange not only your shape, but the whole momentum of your life? What if the reason diets, calorie counting, and endless willpower talk never work for you isn't because you're weak, but because you've been trying to change the wrong thing, the outside, instead of the invisible patterns that create your eating from the inside out? If this resonates with you, or if you know someone who has been trapped in the cycle of dieting and binging, leave a comment saying, "I choose mindful eating," and don't forget to subscribe and like this video for more transformational content. Most of us move through more than 1,000 meals a year, hundreds of bites every week, and thousands of tiny decisions about food that we make completely unconsciously, in the car, in front of the screen, while scrolling in the moments between meetings, and then we wonder why our body, energy, and confidence don't reflect the effort we pour into gym sessions and meal prep. You're not failing because you lack discipline. You're failing because you've been eating like a distracted machine instead of a living temple. You snack to soothe, you swallow to cope, you inhale your lunch between calls and wonder why fullness feels like a distant rumor. The truth I want to give you today is simple and radical. Changing your body doesn't start on a plate with rules and restrictions. It starts inside your nervous system, your senses, and the tiny, sacred rituals you practice around food. When you understand what you're actually doing at the table, everything changes. People try to fix their weight by forcing external circumstances, fewer carbs, more cardio, stricter rules, but those are surface tactics. Real change happens when you adjust the invisible architecture that creates those circumstances. How you notice hunger, how you respond to emotion, how you use attention, and how you allow the body to speak. Mindful eating isn't a technique to be practiced when you have time. It's a new operating system that runs your relationship with food and, by extension, your body. And the shocking thing is how few of us are even aware there's a different way. You react to cravings and then shame yourself for them. You try to outthink hunger, and every attempt to be stronger simply adds friction to a system that needs coherence, not force. There's a neuroscience truth here. Your brain and your gut are in constant conversation through nerves, hormones, and subtle signals. And when you ignore those messages, you amplify confusion. In other words, dieting is often punishment for a body trying to be heard. But there's a method, a precise, loving reprogramming that shifts you from reacting to food to consciously choosing it, from numbing your feelings with bites to meeting your body with attention. I'm going to show you the exact 4-step mindful eating protocol that takes you from automatic snacking to deliberate savoring. And I'll give you a tiny pause practice that makes this automatic in seconds, so you stop surrendering to impulses and start guiding them. Step 1 is the pause. Before every meal or snack, place your fork down or close the container and take 3 conscious breaths. This isn't mystical fluff. It's a simple neurological reset that gives you access to the decision-making part of your brain instead of the panic-driven part. In those breaths, you ask 2 questions. Am I physically hungry? And what am I really feeling right now? Learn to differentiate stomach hunger from emotional hunger. Hunger arrives gradually. It originates low in the belly, and it can wait, whereas emotional hunger is sudden, urgent, and often paired with a story. Loneliness, stress, boredom, reward. Practicing this pause rewires the loop between impulse and action, creating a tiny but powerful gap where choice can exist. Step 2 is the map. Check in with a simple 1 to 10 hunger-fullness scale and scan your body for tension. Notice where you hold stress. Maybe your jaw tightens, your shoulders rise, your stomach churns, and name it. Naming softens the charge. When you map your internal landscape before you eat, you begin to discover patterns. You always snack at 3 p.m. because your energy dips. You always reach for something crunchy when a difficult conversation finishes. This mapping isn't judgmental. It's data. Use it with kindness. Step 3 is the savor protocol. For the first 3 bites, engage all 5 senses deliberately. Look at the color and shape of the food. Notice the aroma. Feel the texture with your fork or fingers. Listen to the small sounds of crunch or steam. And with each bite, slow down so you can taste fully. Put your utensil down between bites. Chew 15 to 20 times, paying attention to how the flavor unfolds. The shift happens when taste moves from background noise to the main event. Most people talk themselves out of their meal before they even taste it. Savoring returns you to your body and gives the nervous system permission to relax. Step 4 is the integrate. Pause mid-meal and assess fullness, gratitude, and intention. Ask, is this nourishing me the way I intended? Have I met the feeling that brought me here? If you're still hungry, eat slowly and continue the practice. If you aren't, close the meal with a moment of gratitude. One sentence to acknowledge the fuel and the hands that prepared it, or a short breath-centered anchor to mark the meal complete. This ritual closes the loop and prevents the unconscious one more bite spiral that long-term sabotages results. These 4 steps, pause, map, savor, integrate, are simple to say and subtle to practice, but they rewrite the script that has been running your appetite for years. They're the inner architecture that makes behavior change sustainable, because they transform your nervous system's default from reactive to responsive. This isn't about perfection or moralizing food choices. You can still enjoy pizza, chocolate, and celebrations. The point is to choose those moments with presence rather than to fall into them from autopilot. Ancient wisdom traditions knew this instinctively. Buddhist monks practiced mindful eating as a way to honor the present moment. Ayurvedic practices teach eating according to inner cues and seasons rather than arbitrary external rules. Modern science is catching up, too. Mindfulness interrupts the stress cycles that trigger overeating, helps restore natural hunger-fullness signaling, and strengthens self-regulation over time. But you don't need to wait for science to catch up to start feeling different. Let me bring this close to home. Think about the last time you ate while scrolling your phone. Do you remember the first bite? The flavor? The moment you stopped? Most of us cannot. We carry a constant list of later inside us. Later I'll taste, later I'll enjoy, later I'll feel full. And by the time later arrives, the meal is done, guilt is present, and the body is left misunderstood. Or recall eating something in a rush and then feeling sleepy, bloated, or unsatisfied. That wasn't the food's fault. It was the way you met the food. When you begin to practice these steps, your relationship with food becomes a conversation rather than transaction. You begin to hear what your gut is telling you. This food energizes me. This brings comfort, but not nourishment. This fills a hole that a different action would have satisfied. Over time, those messages become clearer and easier to act on. There is also a social ripple. Your eating frequency, pace, and tone affect the atmosphere of your meal companions. Children, especially, mirror the calm or chaos at the table. When you bring presence to your plate, you silently teach others how to meet their hunger, how to regulate their emotions, how to notice without blame. This is why mindful eating isn't selfish. It's one of the kindest things you can do for the people you love. Now, I want to give you a micro practice that makes this whole system automatic. The 3-bite pause. The moment you take your first bite, set your utensil down and breathe in 3 conscious breaths while the taste settles on your palate. Use the second and third bites to really examine texture and fullness cues. After the third bite, check the 1 to 10 scale. If you're already at a 6 or 7, slow down and finish mindfully. If you're lower, continue until you reach satisfaction. The 3-bite pause trains your brain to expect a pause, to default into curiosity instead of compulsion. And within a week, you'll notice the habit moving from effortful to effortless. Another tiny hack: create a pre-meal ritual, a hand over your heart for 1 breath, a short sentence of intention like, I choose nourishment, or simply putting the phone in another room. Rituals are the scaffolding around which new identity grows. When you do the ritual often enough, the new identity, someone who eats with attention, becomes who you are. And here's the deeper truth. You didn't think your way into your current body. You ate your way into it. Your first tastes, childhood snacks, late-night coping bites, hurried cafeteria lunches. These built a history in your cells. So the work of transformation isn't about force. It's about repatterning those tiny acts of meeting yourself. Each conscious chew, each pause, each naming of feeling is like a brick in a new foundation. You are reconstructing your inner temple of appetite brick by brick with curiosity, not condemnation. This means the goal isn't deprivation, it's alignment. Alignment looks like choosing foods that serve your energy. It looks like stopping when you feel satisfied. And it looks like being kind to yourself on the days you slip. The most effective shift isn't more willpower. It's coherence. When your nervous system, your senses, and your values line up, behavior changes naturally. Imagine walking into your kitchen centered and confident, making choices that reflect your true needs, not the noise of the day. Imagine sitting down, tasting each bite as if meeting an old friend, and leaving the table with energy and peace instead of regret. These are not distant fantasies. They're the likely result of simple practices repeated with attention. As you begin to practice the pause, the map, the savor, and the integrate, you will notice small miracles. Cravings that once felt insurmountable lose their grip, energy levels stabilize, your genes fit differently not because you've punished yourself, but because you've learned to give your body what it actually needs. People often ask how long this takes. The honest answer, you start to feel a difference in days, and you build lasting transformation in months. The nervous system is patient when you are consistent. If you want a place to start right now, do this. Stand or sit comfortably. Place your hand on your belly. Take 3 slow breaths. Name one feeling that often drives your eating, and between 2 meals tomorrow, practice the 3-bite pause. That's it. Small, repeatable, sacred. As you leave this space, carry one final truth with you. Mindful eating is not a moral crusade, it's a reclamation. You're not rejecting pleasure. You're reclaiming pleasure from the tyranny of distraction and compulsion. The body you want is not forged through punishment, but through presence. The next time you reach for food, remember that you're not simply filling a void. You're choosing your future tone of energy and the way your life will feel. Let the plate become your teacher. Let each meal be a chance to return home to yourself. Slow down. Taste more. Listen. When you practice that, everything else organizes around your clearer, calmer center. So, step into this practice not to restrict, but to expand, not to control, but to align. Your plate is a compass. Your attention is the needle. Follow it. If this video helped you, remind me in the comments with "I choose mindful eating." Subscribe for more guidance like this, and share this with someone who needs permission to eat with presence. Start today and enjoy the body you've always wanted by honoring the way you move through your meals.